Have a look at the Ukraine and Russia. Alexei Navalny yesterday copped another 19 years and two hits on a Russian tanker this morning, and we also saw another vessel hit yesterday by Ukrainian drones. What do you make of it all?
Well, Ukraine is making it clear that the Moskva was not the end of it when they sunk the Russian flagship, that they're going to be a threat to the Russian Navy throughout the Black Sea, and that they're not going to put up with a grain embargo, or which is what's going to happen, especially what the Russians want to happen after they withdrew from the grain deal. The Ukrainian offensive in the south continues. There is now kind of a media blackout inside of Russia, so it's kind of harder to get more objective information from the Russian side. As a Russian speaker, this has been my bread and butter for a long time, so that's a disappointment. But the Ukrainians do appear to be gaining ground and have reached another set of Russian defenses in the south. The Russians have launched an offensive near Avdiivka, which has largely failed, but it looks like Russia is taking a lot more losses they're inflicting on the Ukrainians, and it remains to be seen, can the Ukrainians really take advantage of this before the rainy season hits?
What do you think will happen with Navalny?
That poor guy. Mr. Navalny, Alexei Navalny, was given yet another 19 years by a Russian court this last week, and it looks like he won't get out of prison until and unless there's a regime change in Russia. Navalny is more of a rallying cry for the West than he is actually inside of Russia. He's not particularly popular or particularly well liked inside of Russia. It's somewhere between dislike and indifference. He's not really the potent political force there that the West seems to think he is. Any change in Russia, sadly, is going to come from inside the security service, inside of the military, when they believe that economically and politically the war in Ukraine becomes untenable, especially with its concomitant economic costs.
It almost is untenable, isn't it, John? It looks shambolic from where we are all looking from.
I'm sorry?
It virtually is untenable, isn't it? I'm asking you that question. From where you're sitting, where I'm sitting, it looks a complete shambles.
Yeah, so the question becomes, at what point does the Russian public hit a boiling point? And that is going to have the key to understanding that is Russian economics. Now, Russian state economic figures are distorted, but it does appear, and there's objective evidence of this with the fall of the ruble to March 2022 lows, that the economic situation in Russia is deteriorating. When the Russian leadership and the Russian security services begin to fear widespread Russian unrest or mutiny, again, another mutiny inside of the Russian military, they may be compelled to act. So look for signs from the ground up, because it's from the bottom up. Those are from whence the pressures will come, and that will cause the security service to act. But it looks like when that happens, there'll be more of a cosmetic change in the Kremlin that's designed to preserve the current system rather than some sort of broader democratic movement.